What is going on, everybody? Thank you for tuning into Game Informer. This is another episode of New Gameplay Today. We're looking at Ghostwire Tokyo again for a longer period of time than last time. I'm your host, Alex Van Aken, today joined by Blake Hester. How you doing, Blake?
I'm fantastic today.
I'm glad to hear that. Blake, what the heck are we looking at here?
You just told them Ghostwire Tokyo.
I know, but that was like the I was trying to transition, you know? That's what we in the business call a smooth transition.
This is Ghostwire Tokyo, developed by Tango Gameworks, published by Bethesda for the PlayStation 5 and PC. It's a first-person action game set in an open-world rendition of the Shibuya Ward of Tokyo, Japan.
Wow, you had that down, man. You were ready. Yeah, Ghostwire Tokyo. This is footage from Chapter 2. And right. Blake, I think we can only talk and show what was in Chapter 2. But as you can see, we are kind of walking down the street, and there's these Slenderman-looking dudes who are by this gateway, and
the Rainwalkers.
They have a name, the Rainwalkers.
Yeah.
So you can kind of
Did you not dig through the journal? It tells you about all the yokai in the game.
I did not, Blake. But I was obsessed with these really cool incantations that we cast. So this is the first one that you get in the game. You can kind of do like a straight shot like I'm doing, or you can charge it up. And if you're lucky enough, you can do like one of those cool core grab executions. You'll see it again in a second. But I'll let you talk, Blake. You're the one who's played a lot more of this than me.
I don't know if I'm legally allowed to say how much I've played.
Well, yeah. Yep.
No, I mean, like, basically, I think, what are we, 2 minutes, 5 seconds in this video?
Yeah.
You've seen all there is to see of Ghostwire, which might sound like a negative to some, but I don't necessarily mean it as a negative. I do think the game might not be received particularly well. Because of its gameplay loop, maybe its story. They're both a bit rote, repetitive, bland. It doesn't, in these first 2 chapters, I think it's immediately evident. There's no getting around it. You very quickly figure out what you're going to be doing for the next however many hours.
Yeah.
I don't particularly see that as a negative, especially, this is maybe unfair, but especially for me, coming off of Elden Ring, which is this expansive, mechanically heavy open world game, Ghostwire being like scaled back by several orders of magnitude actually appeals to me. I don't want to say that overall the game is repetitive or rote, because I think in terms of its world and characters, specifically its enemies and like modern / a folklorish take on Japanese yokai, which are effectively like spirits or ghosts, I think is some of the coolest shit I've seen in a game in years. So that, coupled with like just kind of a smooth brain game, I'm all about it.
No, yeah, it is.
I was into it within the first hour.
Yeah, and we're going to see here in a few minutes in this footage, there are just some moments in this game that I was not expecting. I've kind of been going into this with as little information as possible. I know it's a Tango game. I know, you kind of are saving spirits in Tokyo. That's about all I knew going into this video game. And it's stylish, it's weird, it's cool. I don't know if I'm in love with it, but I'm intrigued. I can say that much.
Well, that's Tango's whole thing, is like they have always, this is their 3rd game they've put out. Certainly not their 3rd game they've developed. I think they've been public about their first project being canceled. But anyway, every game they've put out has always had fantastic art direction. Evil Within 2 especially was very, very cool. And Ghostwire is no different. I think, this game, it's not an open world on the level of a Rockstar or...
It seems actually very segmented where I'm at least.
No. I mean, it all really feeds into each other. You're just kind of blocked off from certain areas right now.
Sure.
But I think its open world is probably one of its strongest elements. It does density and scale in a very realistic and interesting way that I don't think a lot of video games actually do very well. You know, like lots of games have open world cities. Few rarely feel like a city, and I think Ghostwire Shibuya really feels like a city. In
That's
the way
awesome.
that Cyberpunk did really well, and part of that I
Oh,
think
okay,
is
yeah.
just the first person perspective. It makes everything feel bigger than you know it is,
Yeah.
or maybe I shouldn't say it is, but it feels bigger than a
It's got that
third
sense of
person game.
scale.
Yeah, and but also just being in a mega city like Tokyo, like there is just a density to it that they really get across in this game that
Yeah.
I absolutely love.
And this is kind of like the weird factor I was talking about. Opening up a payphone, and you're going to see this is how we kind of rescue spirits in this world. We capture them on these little paper figurines, these paper
Yeah, I mean,
dolls, and, you know.
it's nonsense.
Yeah.
Let's call it for what it is. But within the first minute, you get the story. Everyone in Shibuya, possibly Tokyo, has disappeared in this rapturous event. I think it does like rapture imagery very well as you walk around the game. You see clothes everywhere, which is kind of this like old style view of the rapture where people disappear, but
In their
obviously
tracks.
they don't
Yeah.
they don't take their physical belongings with them, so all their clothes and purses and everything fall to the ground. It's really cool to go in like Shibuya Scramble where ostensibly thousands of people would be, and they're just like it's like a sea of clothes. It
Yeah.
is so cool. I love it.
This is the antagonist of the game. I believe he's on
Yeah.
the cover of the game. You'll see him a lot.
Yep.
And yeah, like Blake said, you'll get the story in a matter of minutes. This guy, bad guy, taking spirits. You, good guy, trying to save spirits. And
That's basically it.
yeah, but
What
like
more do you need?
the sites at least that I've seen in between those story beats are really fascinating. And we'll see one of my favorite parts, at least visually, here in a second. And I'm curious to see how that extends to the rest of the game. But one thing I don't like about this game, and I hate to just bring up what I don't like about it. There's a lot of cool stuff, but I feel like for a game that is so like FPS sort of like you're casting these spells, right? I feel like it is super hard to aim on gamepad. I normally don't have that problem. I would say I'm pretty good at FPS games, and just like the sensitivity or whatever's going on, and it's rough feeling.
Are you
in
using
combat.
are you using L2?
Yes, I am. And I feel like L2 sometimes works for me, and other time, like, because it kind of does this auto aim thing. But I feel like sometimes it doesn't actually like track the bad guy for me. Like,
Yeah, I mean, to your point, one of the very first things I did when playing this game was boost the sensitivity way up, just to feel like I had more control of it. It does have a bit of a sluggish feel.
yeah, but I mean, look at this stealth execution. That stuff's sick. All right, so we're almost there to the part I was talking about, but anything else while we wait for us to climb up this apartment, Blake, that people should know about this?
I mean, there's lots of things you should know about it. I think one of the coolest things is the way it pays tribute to the classic film Pulse, released in 2001 by Kiyoshi Kurosawa. So if you're looking forward to this game, I'd say watch that movie real quick before you jump in.
Pulse.
They deal with a lot of the same Pulse, Kaido in Japanese, but it got an American remake. I don't recommend watching that. The original Japanese movie, very easy to find. This game feels very much like that film in game form.
That's right.
So
Also,
I really
I love
recommend-
these hand seals. I don't know.
Yeah,
this
when
mechanic
they
is
work.
super cool. Yeah. Oh, when they work. Woof.
Yeah. Sometimes the inputs just don't land, but it is what it is. You know, it can't be perfect at everything.
And I feel like this apartment is reminiscent of some of the stuff you see in Evil Within, and like the perspective warping stuff. I wasn't necessarily expecting that, and it's really well done, as you'll see in a second.
Yeah, there's almost a MC-Escher quality to sometimes the world. They've shown this isn't a spoiler. Sometimes the world breaks, it kind of joins with the spirit world, and when that happens, there's this MC-Escher kind of, you're seeing architecture you recognize, but it's bending in ways that don't make sense to the brain, that I think is so cool. I guess a more contemporary analogy would be Inception.
Sure. Yeah. And
it's always very neat, and it does it throughout the game. Like, it's not this specific set piece. Like, it goes and goes and goes and keeps doing that.
yeah, I figured. So now this is the skill tree. You've got 3 different you can put points into equipment, ethereal weaving, and just like regular kind of augments to your abilities.
Yeah.
Do you have any favorites that you're allowed to talk about?
I don't remember what chapter you get what, so I plead the 5th.
Fair enough. But there's all sorts of stuff like quicker executions, ground executions, which I think is what I end up unlocking. This ether shakedown, so like when you are hitting enemies with strikes, you get more health back. Kind of your typical, upgrade system. But
Look, we love skill trees here at Game Informer.
Oh yeah, one of the best things. There were some interesting entries in the ethereal weaving, but I don't have enough points for that yet.
Oh, look at this.
What do we got here?
Classic protagonist. Gonna go down in history. You got your Kratoses, your Nathan Drakes, and then Akito from Ghostwire Tokyo. Just a character we can all love and rally around.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm just kidding. He's pretty bland. The story, I like the story, but it's pretty by the numbers.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm gonna remember it in 6 months time, but like I certainly didn't hate it. It mostly stays out of its way. I will say Akito and KK. Akito in the very opening cutscene is possessed by a spirit named KK. Their dynamic is actually pretty good, and they have some funny banter throughout the game that luckily doesn't get old.
Oh, good. I haven't seen any of the humor yet. It's just been kind of like your typical like edgelord. I've got to save my sister. You better not get in my way. Like that kind of
I don't think that's edgy though.
No? Angsty? No. Maybe angsty?
I mean, if your sister was in trouble,
okay, fair,
would you try to help her? Like, I feel like edgy would be like, I'm going to join forces with the bad guy to
kill chaos.
They don't cuss too much in the game.
Okay,
I don't
that's
know
fair.
if they cuss at all in the game, actually.
I haven't heard a single cuss.
I mean, I didn't memorize the script. Don't let me.
Well, how are you going to review the game and not memorize the script, Blake?
God, I don't know.
Wow.
I don't know.
Game journalism, it's dead.
I wish.
Look at all those clothes.
Isn't that awesome? That's such a cool touch. I really love what they do with this. Alex, we live a mile from each other.
Yeah.
Even in Minneapolis, just the population density of any city is just absurd. You're just constantly surrounded by people packed in like sardines on top of each other, right?
Yep.
Tokyo, Japanese cities, obviously known for their high population. There is something so eerie about a city being completely empty in the way that Shibuya is.
Dead quiet.
And, I think like narratively it gets at the idea of urban isolation, being surrounded by thousands of people and being lonely. But just visually, it's very creepy to be like, there should be people here. I kind of wish there were people here and not blood raining from the sky, which sometimes happens in this game.
Also, invisible walls that don't quite go away quick enough. This sequence, there's a few times that happens.
Look.
But look at these toilets, dude. You can. Every apartment has one.
Look, it's a first-person Bethesda game. You got to be able to mess with things. How are you going to be running through this level? Slow down. Look at this.
I did. I started slowing down.
Cool.
I started slowing down here.
It's so cool.
Oh
my Lord.
Yeah. This is when I was like, oh my god.
And see, this is what I'm talking about. Okay, like the gameplay of this game, it's not going to push you very hard. You're not going to be like, man, that feels great. The story not going to wow you. But I think when it really plays with its world. Like, this game kind of is standing in a league of its own. Like, few games feel this slick or artistically inventive, and it is a AAA game, so you're seeing a really high-budget version of this, like, mind-bending and level transforming that I think is so cool, and what makes me, like, really love the game in a way I might not love something like a Far Cry, which has a similar gameplay loop, but it's boring as hell and does nothing interesting with its world. Ghostwire kind of pushes as far as it can with its world design, and it's like the ways it tricks you and messes with you in a way that kind of jumps over some of the issues I might have with its rote gameplay design.
No, that's fair.
It might not be for everyone, though. I'm not saying like you have to like this game. If the gameplay doesn't work for you, I totally get it. I think a lot of people might find it pretty boring, and the world might not do it for them. But for me, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm super into this.
No, yeah, my one when I was like going through this whole sequence, I was like, oh, this is so cool, and then to be like, all right, now I gotta walk outside, wait for it to load. Okay, now let me run up the stairs again, hit the door. Okay, let me load back in. Like it was that kind of stuff that was like, all right, come on, let's keep this going, dude. Like this part,
Yeah,
oh my
man.
god, when we're like falling, oh I love this part.
I think it's a miracle a game like this gets to exist with this kind of budget these days. Because, Bethesda, they got a lot of titans out there. They got their Starfields or whatever, their Fallouts, I don't know. But I'm stoked that there's an investment in this kind
Absolutely.
of weird B-rate, game from a Japanese studio. I feel like we don't see as many of these anymore in the way we did in the PS2 era. So I'm just happy this weird game exists.
No, you're absolutely right. This is a PS2-esque game, which is I think a great compliment.
Yeah, I think that's the highest form of compliment you can give these days. Like Neon White, another example is just like, oh yeah, I would have played the shit out of this on my PS2.
Yeah. And we're back. So Blake, that's going to be the end of this in GT. Game looks cool. When's it out?
Come on, man. I'm not the PR person for this game.
Soon, next week, next Friday?
No, it's drum roll.
The 25th, right?
According to Google, the 22nd. Nope, 25th. Google had it
Next
wrong.
Friday, yeah. The 25th.
Thank you, Wikipedia, for coming through for me.
Yep. Well, everybody, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this early look, be sure to subscribe. If you're new around here, like the video, leave a comment down below, all that fun jazz. Blake, thank you for joining me, my friend. And talk to you later.